Hello, my loves. It is Chrissy G. If you are new to my channel, then welcome. And if you are back, welcome back. So let's get right to it, you guys. I have been gone for what feels like an eternity, although it's only been a few weeks. I think maybe 2 months or so since I posted my last video, but it just feels like I've been gone for forever. And although I've posted shorts here and there to kind of keep in touch with you guys, it just feels like I'm ready to sit down and talk to you guys about what all has been going on. So I think in my last update, I talked a lot about how I wanted to do some new things for the year, and I just wanted to journal a little bit more often and read new books and all that good stuff. Yeah, that's all been on standby. I've not been able to do any of that. But I have continued my journey. I've stretched out my last few boxes of Manjaro, so I'm taking them every 2 weeks or so just to try to maintain, just because I hear all the stories and I see the struggles that you guys are going through with all these shortages that are going on, and just in general the pricing and just the how expensive everything is. And so I've been stretching mine as best as I can. My cousin and I and my daughter recently, we went to go see a new doctor, because I don't know if Dr. Z watches these videos or not, or his staff, but I think we're all just mortified to go back to Dr. Z and hear things that we don't want to hear. We don't want to hear the truth, because truths hurt, and I already know what he's going to say. And I'm just not prepared for that. I know he wanted me off of it because he doesn't feel like this is a long-term medication. I've mentioned that in many of my videos. And so I think that's why I kind of don't want to go. I don't want to go in and be told no, because he feels like I should have learned to eat by now, which is partially true. But I have also realized in the last few weeks that it has a lot to do with mental understanding, hunger, and how we view food. And I'm still in that mindset of bad foods, good foods. And although I was very successful on my journey, so for those of you who just joined my channel recently and haven't had the opportunity to watch some of my earlier videos, I started this journey at 241 pounds, and I was quickly losing 10 pounds a month, and an average of about 10 pounds a month. With that, I lost a ton of hair. So I know one of you just mentioned, your hair loss, and how some of you guys are kind of in fear of losing your hair. Unfortunately, with any weight loss journey where you lose weight very quickly, hair loss tends to be a part of that. So but on the plus side, it stops falling out and it starts growing in. And since we're talking about hair, I am officially a brunette, as you guys can see. It's still taking me some getting used to. I love it. I love my new darker color. I'm going darker in phases. I didn't want to just do a drastic change. So there is still some of my previous highlighted hair underneath that you can see. And then of course, a lot of this is extensions, but my natural hair, which is what you see back here, is really dark. A lot of it has grown out. I decided to stop bleaching because I've been doing it for over 20 years, and it's really taken its toll on my hair here recently, especially with all the hair loss. So the bleach just causes breakage, and I'm only getting older and hair just keeps getting a little bit more brittle, and I've always had fine hair anyways. So the consistent damage over the years, even though I use the best shampoos and products and stuff, it just, at the end of the day, like, the damage is done. And when I went to go do the ombre here recently, about a year and a half ago or so, that just decimated my hair. Like, there was no return after that. My hair was just consistently breaking, and I almost ended up with shoulder length hair when it was down to my back. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna stop bleaching, stop dyeing it. So although I went in and darkened my highlights with I had a license before, so I did my own hair color to kind of match my extensions, but I didn't touch any of my virgin hair. So all this is just my natural hair, and it feels so good. And I am fortunate enough that although I just turned 40, I have a few grays here and there randomly, but nothing to impact my hair too much. So all good. I'm pretty satisfied with how it turned out, and it was part of my identity, right? Like, for 20 years I've been a blonde, and it's just kind of, close to that chapter because I don't think I could go back just because I fear of the damage to my hair. And I'm at the point where I rather have hair than no hair kind of situation. So, yes, that was my spiel on hair. Anyways, moving forward now to my journey. So I have maintained, and you guys, this is why all throughout my journey, I have told you guys if you are just starting your journey with GLP-1 medications, it's really important that you do not titrate every month when you go back to the doctor. Try to hold off titrating up as much as you can because it does not matter the dosage that you are on. And I know people will argue and say, oh, well, it's proven that the higher the dose, the percentage of weight loss is bigger, but not necessarily because they're taking an average of the time on the medication. It does not, I promise you guys when I tell you that it does not matter the dosage. If you can, if medication is working for you at the 2.5 or the 0.25, depending on which GLP med you're on, or tirzepatide or semaglutide, depending on your body, and like for some people can continuously lose an average of 5 to 10 pounds every month on the same dose. So not until you completely stop losing weight on a dose should you titrate, because your body gets used to every dose. Or I don't know. And again, disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. I'm only sharing my personal experience and people close to me. So not just don't for a minute think that higher dose means higher weight loss. Okay. So try to early on in my journey, I did not know this. There wasn't a lot of people talking about it. And so I was in that mindset where I wanted to hurry up and titrate. And when my doctor would leave me on the same dose, I would be kind of bummed because everyone else who started their journeys right around when I did were getting dosed up and I was staying behind. And although I would stay behind, I would continuously lose the weight. And so that was his explanation to me. If you're still losing weight, then don't worry about titrating up. But in my mind, I thought, no, but I need to go up so that I could lose more weight because, 5 to 10 pounds, even though that's healthy, was not enough, right? We always want to see results right away. That's just how we are. We are in the times of instant gratification. And so if we diet for a day, we expect to lose 10 pounds. It's just the reality of it, right? I'm totally being sarcastic with the 10 pounds in one day, but essentially most of us will diet for a few days and expect to see big numbers on the scale, right? That's just how that's how our mind works. But that is not how it is. And my daughter's actually, she's almost 19 now, but she's now going to get on the medication herself. And so she has me to guide her, but I tell her the same thing. And you guys, I would never tell my daughter something that I wouldn't tell you guys, right? So same thing with her, because she was like, oh, they're starting me at the 0.25. I'm like, yes, that's normal. Don't feel that you need to rush into higher doses. Like you can be just as successful on the lower dosing. So I spent the first few months bouncing between 0.25 and the half mark, and I lost the most weight in the beginning of my journey. I was consistently losing about 10 pounds a month and on the compound. And when I switched to Manjaro, I spent 2 months on the 2.5, and I lost the bulk of my weight those first 6 months. And then it started to slow down drastically. So I went from losing about 10 pounds a month to losing 4 pounds, 5 pounds, 3 pounds. Some months I wouldn't lose anything. And so although I've been on the 12.5 for a few months now, I've not lost any weight. And this is the hard pill to swallow, is the fact that for some of us, we're spending the cash price because insurance does not cover. And it's a lot to be spending $1,100 a month on a medication that is not helping you lose the weight, right? And this is why it's essential to try and learn how to be able to maintain your weight without the medication. That was the whole reason of this, right? Was to learn to eat properly, to understand portion control and all that good stuff. So, and like I've said many times, easier said than done, right? Understanding portion control is easy when you feel the satiety, right? When you feel full after a few bites. But once that sense of fullness is gone, when you're off the medication, it becomes really hard, because you want to keep eating until you feel full. And even though you should only have so much of this, you want to have more because you're still hungry. So anyways, long story short, I have been maintaining at the 180 mark for 180s for the last, I want to say maybe 6 months or so. Time flies, you guys. Um, but I've been bouncing between, I for a good while I was between 180, 185, 180, 185. And then now I'm pushing the medication every 2 weeks or so. And so, yeah, I get hungrier at the 12.5 already. I'm used to it now. And so it's not as effective as it was when I first got on it, where I was feeling full really quickly and I wasn't really getting hungry. And so I am now balancing between 185 and 189. And I think the fear of me hitting 190 makes me restrict, to where I start dropping, and then I get to that 186 mark, and then I kind of loosen up. And so it's just been back and forth. But at the same time, it's like this is just going to be a lifelong battle. Like it's never going to go away. And I recently went to the weight loss clinic here in Houston, and I will leave their information here. So if anyone is local here in Texas or Houston, this is a clinic that this is all they do. They offer the compounds, they offer the name brand, they offer phentermine as a supplement to the compounder, name brand. They schedule weekly visits with you. They also offer the B12 injections and all that good stuff. So when you go in there, they give you a full breakdown of your body fat, your muscle, your water weight. They even break down how much each arm weighs, how much each leg weighs. So it was a pretty neat experience as far as that, because it's kind of fun to just go over your numbers. If you guys are interested in me going over my numbers, I would be more than happy to share. Then just leave it in the comments that you want me to share my stats with you, and I will be more than happy to dedicate a video to going over my results on that. And so that's the whole point of the monthly visits with them, is that they want to keep measuring to see your progress, and it's really cool. Anyways, we went, the nurse practitioner knows what we're there for. They do not accept insurance. It is cash pay, which is what hurts me, because my copay with a general practitioner is to only $25, and they're with them because they do not accept insurance. It's $115 a visit, which is insane to me to be paying $100. So she said that after your first initial visit, it would drop to $99, which is still $100 a month, which is still a lot. So if you combine that $100 a month plus the medication, it still comes out really pricey. So she did not hesitate. I let her know that I have been on the 12.5, and so she didn't hesitate to write me a prescription. She would not titrate me to the 15, because she said if you're only on this for weight loss, there's no reason why you need to be on 15 milligrams. So she's like, I'm going to keep you on another month, but I'm going to give you a whole weight loss plan. And again, you guys, if you want me to share, I will share the weight loss plan that they give you, because I thought it was neat. Never before has a doctor given me that kind of information. So they give you a whole little booklet, and of course she wants you to follow a keto lifestyle, and I just let her know that that was not for me. I've tried keto in the past. Yes, I was successful. A matter of fact, the 2 first months that I was on the compound, I followed a keto diet, and I was losing 10 pounds a month, and I felt like I was eating a lot of food then. But it was a lot of just meal planning. With keto, you really cannot eat out. I know people say you can, but it's a lot to figure out menu items that are keto friendly, that are not sabotaging you somehow. So it's a lot of cooking. But in any lifestyle change is going to require a lot of pre-planning, meal planning. And that's the hard part. The reality, when you're busy and you work all day, you have kids, you have a husband, you have, other things to take care of, meal planning usually takes a back burner for me. And because it just takes so much time, right? So anyways, she did not hesitate to put me back on the prescription. To my surprise, the pharmacy calls me and it's in stock. So I know there's been a ton of talk about shortages with actual Manjaro and Zepbound and stuff like that. But with the compound, it seems like it hasn't been an issue. So the pharmacy calls to confirm and get payment. $425, you guys. $425 for 4 weeks of 12.5 compound tirzepatide. I just lost my marbles. I was like, are you kidding me? if I add your $425 plus the $100, that's $525. I could legit just buy the actual name brand at this point. I mean, with the coupon, I'd be paying $550 for the medication plus my $25 copay, but I'd be saving an hour drive time to this clinic and gas, which is pricey. I'm like, so it ultimately comes out to the same amount. There is no savings for me at this point. And so I was mind blown. I did not expect that price tag. It's a pharmacy out of Dallas, Texas. It's called Grand Ave, like Grand Avenue, but it's abbreviated, so it's Grand Ave. And I just was like, yeah, no, thank you, but no, thank you. Let me call back and see if she would reconsider writing the Ozempic prescription or semaglutide prescription, because I know that should be more affordable. I was only paying $125 a month when I first started that medication. So sure enough, I call her and she's like, okay, but we're gonna have to drop you to the 0.25. Are you kidding me? I was like, I'm barely able to maintain right now at the 12.5. I can't even imagine getting dropped all the way to 0.25. I mean, my body's not even going to recognize that dosage at this point. So I told her, you know what, that's fine. I guess some help is better than no help. So go ahead. I mean, if that's my only choice, then go ahead, prescribe me the 0.25. So the pharmacy calls me later on that afternoon, and it is now $75. So that sounds a lot more feasible. It still would be $175, which with Dr. Z, I was paying $125 for the compound plus my $25 visit. So that's a total of $150. So that's still the better option. It's just the pride of not walking in and getting griped at, for lack of a better word. I went ahead and paid the $75 for the pharmacy, and they let me know that they would be shipping the medication and it should be arriving by 1 to 2 business days. Well, they let me know Friday, so we're Wednesday today. I will be starting my journey with the compound again, so I'm excited to share how that goes with you guys, because I know a lot of you are concerned about switching from Mounjaro back to, or a tirzepatide back to a semaglutide, just because of the effectiveness. So I'm really curious myself to see how my body will react. If it will go into like I'm starving again, as if I have no medication, I don't know. We'll see how that works. And so I'm excited to share my daughter's journey with you guys. She's super shy, not at all wanting to be behind the camera, but I want her to share her experience. She is really young, and this is why she didn't want to go see Dr. Z, because he let her know she was underage at the time, and he was like, you're overweight, you're young, you should be able to do something about this, you should not be overweight. And so she's very sensitive, my baby, and who wants to hear you're overweight and you need to do something about it or whatnot. He didn't say it in those words exactly, but he's very blunt, and so he basically told her she was young, she needed to do something about it. So she almost left his office in tears, which, by the way, she was there for I think it was strep throat or something. She wasn't even there for weight loss. He made that comment, and so she was very upset about it. So she didn't want to go back to Dr. Z at all, because I told her, with our insurance, you'd only be paying a $25 copay, and she's like, absolutely not, I don't want to hear anything negative like that. And so again, because why? The truth hurts, right? It stings a little when people are not sensitive to things that we are sensitive about, right? So I completely understand, and I'm going to support her whichever way she wants to go. So I told her, go ahead and go to the clinic with us. And so she ended up getting prescribed the 0.25. Also, she was going to get Mounjaro, but that was going to be $180. And she was like, yeah, I cannot afford that. She is a para. She's working as a para right now while she gets her degree for teaching. And so she's like, yeah, Mom, I'm not going to pay $180. So I said, I completely understand. I said, I couldn't afford the $425, baby. So go ahead and call back and tell them that you will opt for the semaglutide instead. And so she did that, and so she's really excited. So she's gonna start her journey this Friday, so I'm really excited to share that with you guys. Because it's a lot of us are older, or at least in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and so our bodies are going to react a little bit different, and I don't see a ton of young people on the medication. I'm excited to see how well it works for her, because she's a very much a midnight snacker. That's her issue. She will not eat very much during the day, and then she gets hungry and she eats so late at night that I'm like, that's not helping you. So I'm here. I'm excited for her. So that's my story on that. I want to do a Q&A with you guys just because there are so many new people on the channel, so many new people to the community, which makes me so excited. You guys, we're so close to 10,000 subscribers, and I hope I reach that goal soon. I was hoping that I would have reached it for my 40th birthday because that would have been the ultimate birthday present for me, but we fell short, so not a big deal. I'm hopeful that this year will be the year we hit 10K, and I'm really excited for that. So yeah, there's so much that I want to share with you guys, but I kind of wanted just to give you an update about what's been going on and where I'm at on my journey and where we are headed. My ultimate life goal was to hit 165. Like, that was where I imagined my sweet spot would be. And like many of you, my goal has changed many times because I never thought that being under 200 pounds would even be attainable. And when I reached it, I was like, okay, well, maybe 195. And then it was 185. And here I am now, like 165. And the sad part is that when I was at 180, that was only 15 pounds. And I felt like, oh, 15 pounds is not a big deal. But now that I'm closer to 190, I'm like, ugh, that's 25 pounds. And it just seems like that much more, right? So yeah, I'm really excited to embark in this new journey with the compound version again. I will probably upload a video on how I inject myself with that, because I know a lot of you are considering the compound medication, and then kind of go over if I get any different type of side effects. I'm also a little excited to switch because maybe my body has been so used to being on the tirzepatide that maybe making the switch over to semaglutide again will kind of spark something new in there and make it a little bit easier, because like I said, I've been kind of stuck. And even though I still know I'm not eating as much as I normally would because I get full really easily, I'm just not losing the weight anymore. Also, I think another one of the factors could be my IUD. So I put in an IUD about 4 months ago, and I've never ever been on birth control before, and it seems like I've been stuck at this weight and continuously gaining a pound here and there for the last 3 months. And so I know that they say that there's no correlation between the IUDs and the IUDs and gaining weight, but there are lots of people who talk about how they easily gained weight, and then once they got it removed, they were able to lose weight. So I don't know if that has anything to do. If you guys have experienced having an IUD and experienced the weight gain, leave it in the comments so that I can learn from you guys, because what better learning experience than to hear it from people who have actually experienced it. Because the textbooks don't always tell you everything, which is why it's so crucial that we share our symptoms, because like a lot of you tell me sometimes, I didn't know that feeling cold all the time was a part of this journey. I didn't know hair loss was a part of this journey. I didn't know about sulfur burps before this. I didn't know there's so many joint pain. So many of you share with me that sometimes when we talk about things on the channel here, or people talk about it in the comments, you guys learn about things that you didn't read about with this medication, or that your doctor didn't share, because doctors aren't always forthcoming with all the side effects either. So I've had the IUD in now for about 4 months. I do notice that I get very bloated, which I didn't really experience ever. So I've never been on birth control. This is my first time, and I only did it because my cycles were becoming so painful. And again, a lot of you are complaining that since being on the semaglutide or the tirzepatide, you are experiencing changes in your cycle. And I mean, they were becoming, the piercing pain that I would get from my cycles was just unbearable some days. And I always pushed through it. Like, never did I let it debilitate me to the point where I didn't go to work or didn't get out of bed that day. Like, although I was in so much pain, it was hard for me to walk some days, I still got my butt up and still went to work and dealt with it, and would pop the ibuprofen or whatever I needed to get myself through the day. But it was just to the point where it's like I'm not in my reproductive age anymore. Like, my husband and I have decided that we are happy with our family of 5. And so we know that we're done with that chapter of our lives. So I just kind of felt like, what is really the point? There was really no necessity for me to have a cycle at this point, outside of your normal hormonal changes, right? So I went in and got my IUD done, which if you guys want to hear that story, leave it in the comments, because that was just an unexpected experience that I had with that. Everything's gone well. I actually, my face has cleared up so much that I don't wear foundation anymore. Like, I literally wear a little bit of concealer and blush, and that's it. Like, I'm not wearing any foundation on my face. I don't put on powder anymore. Like, it's been really nice as far as that goes. The bloating, I get bloated for a few days, and then my cycle just completely stopped. I didn't get one last month. And so I'm just wondering, like, I know that that's the point of the Mirena for some people, is the heavy cycles, the pain, and then it's supposed to lessen your cycles, but like mine just completely vanished at the 4th month. So the very first month after it was kind of a normal cycle. It was just a little bit shorter, and then the second one was definitely shorter in days and in the days of my cycle. And then the third one was very spotty, like just very faint. And then this 4th one was just gone. Like nothing. It just skipped over it, which has never in my life happened unless I'm pregnant, which, so it's kind of a shocker at first. Like, so I'm just not going to get one this month. Like, that's it. Is it over? Am I never going to have one again? What's going on? So it's been a unique experience for me. So yeah, if you guys have had any kind of weight gain on these IUDs, please share that in the comments so that I can learn about this, you guys, because I read about it and I have gone to watch videos, but you know, I would love to hear it firsthand from you guys. So we have a lot going on, and I'm really excited to start this new chapter back on the compound with you guys. And if there's anything that you guys want me to share about, leave it in the comments. Again, I'm hoping that I can do a Q&A video with you guys here soon. I know I've been talking about it for a while, but I promise it's gonna happen. We are coming out of this lazy phase, okay? I've been on this lazy kick. Not lazy as far as life, because life keeps rolling, you guys. And with a family of 5, there is no dull moments. It's just always steady ongoing. But I haven't been dedicating the time that I did to hang out with you guys. I haven't been doing my lives, and so it's reflecting in the growth of my channel. I miss the community. I miss the, you know, the commenting back and forth, and so I'm really just ready to get going. I need to just do it. Like, life is too short. Now that I hit 40, I'm like, no, I want to do so much still. Like, there is so much that I want to get done. And I'm hoping that, you know, God gives me 80 years of life, because I'm like, these first 40 went so quickly. I just can't imagine not being here in the next 40 years. I'm like, let's stop wasting time. Like, I want to do things. I want to grow my channel. I want to feel fulfilled in life. There's so many things that I want to do. Yes, that's where we're at. Turning 40, I thought was going to be a depressing day for me, because I had such a hard time when I turned 39, and turning 39 was so difficult for me. I cried and cried that day. It was like, this is it. This is the last year you get to be in your 30s. This is the last year, you know, that you get to feel young, because I know people will be like, 40 is young. But, and then everybody's like, a 40 is the new 30, but I'm like, only old people say that. Young people don't have to say those things, because they are young. And so I get it. And yes, it's all relevant to time, right? Because to a 15-year-old, a 40-year-old is hella old. They're like, oh my God, that's an old lady. To a 60-year-old, a 40-year-old's young. Like, oh my God, you're only 40. You're just now living life. These are going to be your best years, right? And to an 80, 90-year-old, the 40's like, oh my God, you're a baby. Like, so it's all relevant to where you're at in life, right? Because I know when I was 15, I thought my mom was old. Now I'm like, oh my God, my mom was my age. She's actually younger than I am. Anyways, and turning 40, I was surrounded by family and friends. Some of my closest coworkers made it to my 40th birthday. I'm sure you guys saw some of the snippets of our little birthday bash, and so it was really nice. I brought it in. Literally, my birthday was on Easter Sunday this year, so I brought midnight in to my birthday with my closest friends and family, so that was really nice. And I was just happy. Like, it just felt good, and I feel good. I do feel the best that I've ever felt, just because your mind is grown so much, you know. So it's just been a really nice experience. And I thought that I was going to be sad, but I wasn't. I was really happy. And I'm happy where I am in life right now. So it's good. It's good. I'm happy. Like, it's crazy, right? Because I struggled so much in my 20s and my early 30s that, like, it feels good just to feel satisfied and just to feel happy. So a part of that is having you guys as my community and as my support group. So I appreciate you guys more than you can imagine. So yes. Thank you for everyone who has stuck around with me. Like, I know some of you have been following me from the very beginning, and I absolutely adore you guys for sticking it out with me. And for those of you who are new to the channel or just subscribed recently, I am so grateful that you all are here, and I hope that we continue growing. Make sure that you share my page, like this video so that we can keep it going in the algorithm, and that you subscribe to my channel if you didn't already. So thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope we get to talk soon. Leave me anything you want to know in the comments so we can keep creating content, you guys. Thank you so much, you guys. Talk soon.